Hello fellow FPL managers and welcome to another video where we're looking forward towards game week 13 after the international break, but a quick look back at game week 12. So I myself, you can see I did alright, 58 points, 10 points above the average points. And my captaincy, so I was going into the Liverpool City game feeling a little bit worried because Abraham had obviously returned 8 points and he was the most captain player of the weekend. And I was sort of sweating on how Mane was going to do. He only finished 2 points with the captaincy, finished 2 points fewer than Abraham, so it wasn't too bad. He did sort of keep up with the pace. And of course, Jamie Vardy yet again getting a goal and an assist. And it was just one of those. It's one of those things now where we're talking about Jamie Vardy, whether or not he's essential. Something we'll talk about a little bit later on. A little bit of a difference you can see. So Pope in goal, keeping faith with Pope. No pun intended. Okay, a little bit pun intended, but that's fine. But defense, you can see 2-2-2. Lundstrom, Willems, Arnold. And if you compare that just to the previous week, 14-7-21, you can see it's a stark contrast in compared to last week. And against Sionchi on my bench. And again, I've got no sympathy for the people like myself who bench players like that. But at home to Arsenal, I think, I still don't think that was a particularly bad call. Lundstrom massively unlucky not to get anything. He rattled the post, and then there was that ridiculous offside call as well. I know it had nothing to do with that, but he could have got about 2 goals in that game. TAA is just always going to be dangerous, and Willems as well. I'm still happy I got him. He's still in my backup play, but again, look, 2-1. They did get the win, but he wasn't about. It's one of them as well with Saint Maximin where I think he looks dangerous. It's just getting that end product to sort of stick. Mane getting a goal in that win for Liverpool, that 3-1 win. We'll discuss that when we go through the fixtures. But Salah would have been my joint best captaincy choice because I think he scooped up a bonus point, was it? Yeah, I think he took a bonus point as well as a goal. Tielemans with an assist. Mount, again, nothing. Mount has gone from pretty much returning almost every week to now he's not returning 3 weeks with just an assist. People are starting to offload him. People are starting to go sideways, in my opinion, sideways to Christian Pulisic. Again, I don't think that's a terrible move, but personally, with the money available, I'm going to be sticking with Mason Mount. And Kevin De Bruyne as well, another worrying blank. You can see since game week 7, he's not, he got an assist in game week 10, but he's not really doing a lot there since his sort of return from injury. When he was in that real hot streak, really high owned, he's still just under 40%. But I know a lot of people, again, if you look at the transfers out for this round, he is up there in that list of people getting rid. I myself are thinking about it, but again, I'll come to that a little bit later on. Wilson, biggest troll in FPL, brought him in for that Norwich game. So blanks against Norwich, blank in the last 4, and he's not returned. It's too long. There's only so much patience you can have, and with some strikers in real good form out there, it's difficult not to jump off. And then Abraham there again, you can see 8 points. So going through the fixtures, it was a Friday night football, and it was right at the start of the game when Deulofeu nicked it. I think it was from was it Buendia? Did a real nice bit of footwork in the box and put it away because he grey as well with Deulofeu getting an assist. Norwich are looking gone already. It was such an exciting start to the season, but I feel that you need to build a foundation to stay in the Premier League. You look in the past, even my beloved Bolton Wanderers, Burnley, Stoke, for years and years, these teams stayed in the Premier League by grinding out, only conceding 0 or 1 goal a game. And I feel like if you understand this division, it's lovely to try and play attacking football, but the attacking teams that are already in the division are going to be better than you, and it's not looking good. And this is why we're going to be targeting Norwich pretty much for the rest of the season. Chelsea overcoming their usual very stubborn Crystal Palace defense. You can see Pulisic again getting on the score sheet. Really hot for me. I think he's probably the hottest commodity right now in FPL. A lot of people jumping on him. But a good win there. Burnley back to winning ways. West Ham. That's why I think this week's game, West Ham against Spurs, is such an interesting one. Both managers coming under quite a bit of pressure, not getting the results. West Ham seems to be a bit of a really poor streak at the moment. battered by Burnley. So I think that'll be a really interesting game this weekend. So 2 under pressure managers. Are the players going to come out and play for them? Are they going to sort of give up? I think that'll be a good London derby to watch this weekend. Newcastle coming from behind 2-1. Now comfortably, I think, mid-table in the Premier League. Really turning it around. And they're actually quite an exciting front three. Almiron, Saint Maximin, and Joe Linton. Oh, okay, granted that this doesn't sound like the sexiest front three, but when you actually watch, especially Almiron and Saint Maximin, bombing it down the sides with Joe Linton more like a target man. They actually look pretty good, and with that sort of back five with the wing backs with the likes of Williams, which is the reason why I brought him in, they're just looking a lot better. And at the start of the season, people were really worried, especially with Steve Bruce coming in. And I think they're doing all right. And I don't think they're going to be in danger of going down, because I think other teams are in a lot worse form than they are at the moment. Southampton, again, another defeat against Everton, who usually don't score many goals. So to concede 2 goals against Everton is a pretty poor affair. Spurs lost, Sheffield United won. And I don't think I'm alone here when I say that I think Sheffield United, if they would have come away with 3 points, not a lot of people would have argued about that. I did the Match of the Day challenge, so I didn't look at the results during the day, and I just watched Match of the Day at the next morning without knowing the results. I was watching the highlights, and the only problem Sheffield United had is they didn't put it away in the first half, and I just knew that Spurs were going to nick a goal and sort of upset the apple cart there. But again, VAR and controversial disallowed goal for Lundstrom's, end of his big toe being offside, despite it apparently being a second passage of play. But nevertheless, they stuck the heels in, and they came back and they did get that equalising goal, and I think that was more than they deserved. And I believe I'm right in saying that Sheffield United have not lost away from home, which for any side, let alone a promoted side, is a really, really good achievement. And they play so well, they look so solid, and it's no surprise why we're all pretty much on Lundstrom or even the rest of the back line at the minute, because they're looking really good, and they're coming into a good run of fixtures. Again, we'll talk about that when we look at this game week. Leicester 2, Arsenal 0. Second in the league now. The Foxes looking really, really good, clicking well together. I don't think anyone thought Brendan Rodgers was a bad manager. He did well at Swansea. He actually did really well at Liverpool. We just didn't push on. He went to Celtic, unsurprisingly at Celtic, but still did really well. Still had to win all those games. I think he got the record, didn't he? Like 50 plus games won consecutively. And then at Leicester, since he's come in, Vardy has just absolutely clicked. But the signings that they've made, the price that they got the likes of Tielemans in for, it seems like an absolute steal now. And with the ownership that they've got there, we all know the passing of the chairman in that helicopter accident or incident, but the support that the club has for that family and what the family has for the club, it's looking like really, really good times for the minute for Leicester. And again, a pretty young side, and the way that Ndidi, I know in FPL wise it's not great, but in terms of football, like Ndidi just gives the freedom. He's the enabler in that Leicester side that lets the likes of Maddison and Tielemans run forward to join those attacks. So FPL wise, it's not great, but we appreciate as FPL managers what indeed he does in that Leicester side, because he lets the likes of Tielemans and Maddison become actually really, really great assets. United doing their once a month good performance. It feels like that they get under a lot of pressure, people get angry, and then they get a pretty good result. Nice football, Martial, Rashford doing bits in the games, and then they'll probably just lose the next 2 or 3 games, get angry again, and then do another good performance. It seems to be that kind of rotation at the moment. Wolves 2, Villa 1. And for me, this one, I must admit, I missed this game. This is probably the only game I've missed seeing anything for this whole season. I was busy the previous weekend because this was a Sunday game. I managed to watch the Liverpool City game, but I can't really say a lot for Wolves, despite the fact that I already made my transfer move for this week. Again, I'll talk about that in just a moment. So going to that Liverpool City game, the biggest game of the season so far. I know people are going to be arguing about, TA's handball, even though I hit Bernardo Silva's arm before. But 3-1, pretty convincing. Liverpool deserved it. Another assist for Robertson, who, the bit of banter online between Robertson and TAA saying, oh, who's going to get the assists and the points now? And TAA saying, like, come back in May and we'll see who the champion is. But the two big boys, this is exactly why I went for the Salah Mane combo. And both of them getting on the score sheet. I think with the games that Liverpool have got coming up and the difficult run that City they've got quite difficult fixtures, but also just a little bit of a rut at the moment. That I just feel like that Salah Mane double up is just really, really tasty. So that is a review for Game Week 12. So going on to Game Week 13, and I've already made my transfer, and it's the one that I've talked about for the last few weeks, and that is Raul Jimenez coming in for Callum Wilson. And my issue is at the moment my thought for this game week is, who do I play? Mason, Mount, or Sionchu? And because I've been burnt by not going for the attacking player before, one goal from Brighton and Sionchu is basically just a 1 or 2 pointer. But Mason Mount, he takes corners, he could nick an assist, he could strike a beauty one at the box. It's not ideal. I've even got recall on the bench at home to Wolves, but I'm just feeling that, again, I've been burnt too many times going for defenders over attackers, and I'm quite happy with Willems going to Villa, TAA with Palace, and Lundstrom with United. So this will probably be the team, and I'm going to go for Mane, the captain, yet again. I think he's going to... just the Mane Salah, the only issue I'm going to have with that is who do I put the captaincy on? And with Salah's ankle still being a little bit dodgy and Mane just being in better form, I'm going to stick the captain's armband on Mane. Potential future ideas that I have had, a simple one would be Kevin De Bruyne to Maximan, St. Maximan at Newcastle. 2 reasons why I'm thinking that. Because that will mean I can go Greenwood to Vardy and go for a 3-4-3 and just stick Maximan on the bench. And that's because in game week 18, where TAA, Mane and Salah won't play, I'll have a fully playable team without those three playing. And Newcastle are at home to Crystal Palace. So And I've sort of backed Maximan in the last couple of weeks. He is looking exciting. He has been very unlucky not to get a goal so far. If I don't go that route, I could just go Kevin De Bruyne to a 4.9 million player, still do Greenwood to Vardy, but then also move Button up to a 4.5 million goalkeeper and have a goalkeeper rotation option, because with the Christmas period coming up, it's really busy. I'm not scared of rotation, but when it gets to like double game week time especially, I'd like to have two playable goalkeepers, because if I'm playing my bench boost, I would like all four players on my bench playing, not just three with no goalkeeper. And if there is some rotation, for example, Pope goes out for a game and Joe Hart comes back in for one, I don't want to be playing with 10 men. So that's something for me to think about. And also, the likes of having Maximan on my bench just gives me that selection headache, because I'm probably not going to want to play him over the midfielders that I've already got. And I won't want to play him over Vardy, Abraham, or Jimenez up front. So then I'm just going to be having a 5.4 million player sat on my bench. Whereas I'd rather have like a 4.5 million player sat on my bench with a playable goalkeeper. So they're my thoughts going forward. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about that. And taking a look at the fixtures, you can see I think that West Ham Spurs game is going to be pretty interesting with the issues that they're having. Poor form, managers under pressure. Arsenal, Southampton, again, we're going to be targeting the Southampton defence. We're going to be targeting the Norwich defence. But I actually have in my plays to take a risk on this week as Lacazette, and I'll talk about that later on. But I mean, talk about under pressure, Unai Emery. The reason why I think Arsenal might be a good team to back in this one as well is because, again, it's another manager under pressure, and I think he's going to go all out. A lot of the time, people are thinking Aubameyang's on the left, on the right. I just think he's going to just go all guns blazing, maybe play, Lacazette and Aubameyang up front with Ozil in behind. It's a possibility. I don't think there's going to be any defensive play from Arsenal. I'd be really surprised if, he's playing some holding players like he has been. So it already looks like Granit Xhaka as well as out the side, off in January most likely. So I think it'll be all guns blazing for Arsenal, and I don't think Southampton can sort of withhold that pressure. Bournemouth Wolves, I actually looked into this because I thought it was going to be I could see Wilson and Jimenez getting some goals here. Maybe Fraser getting into the mix as well. I believe Josh King is out for a couple of weeks with a hamstring injury. But when I looked at the previous results, they've actually been like 1-0s and 2-1s and 1-1s. So it might not be the goal fest that I think it's going to be. But I think that'd be an interesting game. Usually Bournemouth is a team that you suggest, hey, check them out. If you're a neutral, there'll probably be goals there. That's not happened as much of late. They have just been beaten in the last game week by Newcastle. But I do feel like there's going to be some goals there. Brighton, Leicester in really good form. Brighton, no Dunk, no Webster, which I'll talk about with my players to pick, avoid, and take a risk on. So that might be another one to target that beautiful value players that you can get from Leicester City. Palace, Liverpool, again, I just feel like Liverpool fixture proof. I feel like eventually they'll break them down, but Palace are a little bit of Liverpool's bogey team. We know when they messed up their chances for the title the last time they were really, really close. It was at Palace. Everton, Norwich, again, I'll talk about this when I look at the players to recommend, but you're just going to be targeting that Norwich defence. Watford, Burnley is an interesting one. Burnley really not good on the road. Watford still in the relegation zone, starting to turn the corner, but I'm not quite there yet. City, Chelsea. City, just I don't know if it's because Pep's been found out. The tactics have been easy to sort of decipher this year. I'm not too sure, but again, I'll talk about this in the place to pick, avoid, take a risk on. Same with Sheffield United, Man United, and Villa, Newcastle. This was probably going to be a relegation scrap, but both teams are looking pretty decent. I don't see it being an absolute goal thriller. Newcastle's still a little bit shy in front of goal, but again, a close one. No assets there that I think that's really worth talking about. Just before we have a look at the players to pick, avoid, and take a risk on for this game week, just a quick review. Just say that we actually got all of them correct, which was great. First time that's happened, I think, at all, where every single player has pulled in what I wanted them to. So Vardy, 1 goal, 1 assist. Mane, 1 goal. Jimenez, 1 goal. Pulisic, 1 goal. St. Maximin, 1 assist. And Martial, 2 assists. So it was every player here in this selection actually pulled through. So that was pretty good. Good game week. So take a look at game week 13, players to avoid, and I'm going to go for Chelsea now. People are going to say go for fixtures, go for form, not fixtures. City, I mentioned earlier, are they looking strong and looking a little bit weaker this season? I just feel that despite Man City's recent issues and Chelsea's good form, Chelsea haven't fared that very well in the big matches. They've done really well in beating the teams that you expect them. No banana skins so far, but they lost 4-0 away to United, 1-1 at home to Leicester, lost 2-1 at home to Liverpool, and I think it's a big ask going to the Etihad. And like I mentioned earlier, my dilemma so far is Mount versus Sancho. I'm probably going to back Mount, but I don't think I'd be putting like any captain's armbands on any Chelsea players this game week. And even in the Champions League against big teams, it's not been that easy for Chelsea, and City are going to really want to bounce back following that Liverpool defeat. Talking about players to pick, so I'm going to go for Sheffield United. I had mentioned this earlier about they've not lost away from home, they're tight at the back, and what I've saw somewhere as well, that we talk about Leicester and Chelsea in terms of value for what you're getting, but Sheffield United are probably the top one. I believe that if you had 3 Liverpool defenders or 3 Sheffield United defenders, the 3 Sheffield United, since the start of the season, the 3 Sheffield United defenders would get you more points. And that's Liverpool with TAA and Robertson and Van Dijk in it. So following Manchester United as well, Sheffield United have Wolves, which isn't the easiest. Then they've got Newcastle, Norwich, Villa, Brighton and Watford. So I just feel, pretty much every man and his dog has got Lundstram now. It's difficult not to. It's 4.9 million. I think he's the best points per million player in the entire game right now. Stevens, Baldock, O'Connell at the back. Remember, Henderson cannot play against Manchester United because that is his parent club, but there's no backup keepers that you'd be bringing in for that game, I don't think. But Norwood, Fleck, Robinson in the midfield. Arguably the weakest part of Sheffield United is their attack, but you're not really getting into Sheffield United by getting their attack. But if you are, it's probably going to be Mousset up front, who is 5 million. He's probably your third choice striker that might come in. So if he's your sub and you've got Mason, if I had Mousset this game week and Mason Mount, I probably would play Mousset over Mount. But it's in their defensive assets we're going to be looking at, and I think Sheffield United are going to be a good shout, not just this game week, but for this game plus the next 6 after that. And the value that you're getting for those players is just phenomenal. Again, it's Jamie Vardy, 35.5%. He's gone up 0.2 since I recommended him last week. And I think 0.4 since the week before that. 9.6 million. How can you not? He's the most informed player right now. It's like him and Pulisic are right up there. Doesn't look like he's stopping. Still got a sea of green fixtures. And he faces a leaky Brighton defence. I mentioned earlier, they don't have Dunk and they don't have Webster. So again, I feel that that's going to be a game that Jamie Vardy can really take advantage of. And the last one that might be a little bit surprised, I've transferred him out before the Liverpool game. And it's someone who a lot of managers are keeping hold of, a lot of the top 10k managers are keeping hold of, and those experienced players, and I can completely understand why. 35.5% ownership, 12 million. Raheem Sterling, fights with his England teammates. City are seemingly a bit on the ropes. Chelsea are on the rise. He's had a really hot and cold season. He's currently, right now, the second most transferred out player after Pookie, with about 125,000 transfers out so far. And this makes it prime troll comeback Sterling sort of situation where he's going to come out and he's going to shut all of these the doubters down. Even though he's had so many blanks this season, he's still posting good stats. He's still looking dangerous when I'm watching him play. I mentioned this before. The issue comes with the fullback that plays. If it's Angelino, they don't really know each other. It's not ideal. But if he starts to cut inside, he's so dangerous. And he's against an inexperienced and still not particularly sound Chelsea defense, which I think could be put to the sword by the City side. They want to bounce back against the Liverpool defeat. They're at home, and the likes of Tomori's young. Is he going to start Aspilicueta? Probably over James, but if James is going to play, you've got 2 young lads in there. Left back, Alonso or Emerson, both are great in attack, not particularly good in defense. If Kante is back, then that might show them up a little bit, but I do expect a pretty convincing City victory. And Sterling, it just feels like it's that game for him to sort of come back and be like, hey, what's up, guys? I'm still, big dog round here. Going on to my players to take a risk on then. So Richarlison, 7.3%, 7.9 million. You just cannot not target this Norwich defense. He's got 2 assists and a goal in the last 4 games. And it's just that Richarlison's the best pick in a pretty weak Everton attack. It all depends, though, really, and this is something none of us can predict, which Richarlison's going to show up. He's either going to come out, strut his stuff, bang, get a double-digit haul, take on the match ball, right? Or he's going to be a ghost the whole game and probably get a red card. Now, I'm going to lean towards him getting having a good return, at least an assist. I think in this match, I'd be surprised if he gets nothing. But you know what he's like? He's unpredictable. He's hot or cold. But I think it's a pretty good punt in a game week, which isn't that easy to sort of pick apart from. Deulofeu is going to come in as well. 2.4% ownership, 6.1 million. So if I had him, and I have had a conversation with people on the channel recently, if I brought him in, he'd be my 3rd choice striker. And again, if I had him in my team, I'd probably be playing him this week instead of Mason Mount. But he's gotten a goal and an assist in that last game against Norwich, and a goal against Chelsea in the game week before. So he's got 19 points in 2 games, which I feel is really nice for a 6.1 million player. And he is looking a lot sharper. Next 2 games are Burnley and Southampton as well. So both of those teams not in the best of forms right now. Watford's, like I said earlier, they're turning that corner, sort of clicking a little bit again, getting some results under their bench. But a home game against Bournemouth before going to Southampton, he could be a good shout if you're going to play 3 up front as your 3rd choice striker. I would not be replacing him. You might want to replace him if you've got Wilson for a game week. Have a little punt on that, but personally not for me. Finally, Lacazette, 1.7% ownership. I said I was going to talk about him earlier on. 9.3 million, so he is expensive. Also still have pretty decent fixtures, but this for me is picking fixture and a big differential more than the player himself. So don't get me wrong, Lacazette is a quality player, but it's just, you know, just like Norwich, I'm targeting the Southampton defense. It's a huge differential at just 1.7% ownership. But he does have 2 assists in the last 3 games, so less than nothing, but the 2 games before that it was 2 assists in each game. But he's got a home tie, a manager that's under pressure. Could see Lacazette and Aubameyang, a front pairing of these 2 guys. And I think most Arsenal fans and neutral football fans alike believe that those 2 players up front together is a deadly duo. And if you've got someone like Ozil playing in the hole behind him, I don't know why we're not seeing this more often. Likes to stick one of them out on the wing, just play them both up front together and just sort of watch them tick. They're obviously really sort of close friends. You see a lot of social Instagram pictures and them messing around with each other and having a laugh. They've got that bond. They know they're not in trouble of really losing their place because they are the 2 big strikers there. Put them up front together and just watch them work against a really poor Southampton defense. So that's going to be it for this game week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below, what players are you targeting for this week? Am I mad? I've still not got Vardy, but next game week could see De Bruyne out, cheap midfielder in, Greenwood out, Vardy in, and me changing to a 3-4-3. That is a possibility. Can you go without Jamie Vardy? That is the question here. So thank you for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Please remember that if you have enjoyed it, maybe leave a like and subscribe. I'll be looking to stream on Friday around it'll be about 12 o'clock UK time. That'll be about 8 p.m. my time. So thank you again, guys, and as always, have a good one.